Thank you so much, Sai. Thank you, everybody. I'm Zhaoxu from Penn State. I'm doing this research as one of my side hobbies. I also do other really interesting things. So this research is is AI good at reading maps? Can it help us with content analysis? No. So since this video will be uploaded to the YouTube, so for the folks that will be watching this on YouTube, you can click the button over there to close the video and check it back 2 years later, maybe 3 years later. Don't forget to subscribe our channel. But for all the folks that are here in our room, you cannot leave. I'll just do a recap of how it ended up going to this conclusion, not only for my analysis, but also all the stuffs. So envisioning AI-assisted content analysis. So I'll go by the following sequence. Firstly introduce a little bit of background, and then I do the experiment, and then the discussion. So imagine you are going to a market and trying to buy some apples from different vendors, and you look over each apple, you look at the size, the color, the texture. You may not taste it, but I'm just repeating the visual variables. And this is how it works in cartography. We can just change it to the maps. It can help us reveal some phenomenon that if you that couldn't be founded if you just observe a single map. So it needs a lot of efforts, and Ian Millenhouse, it's the first the foundational figure bringing that to cartography in 2010, 2011, in his dissertation, all the stuff, and doing a quantitative content analysis of all the atlas maps in the good atlas, from different editions across different decades. And then people are using this content analysis for many years. I know many people sitting here, and myself, I use my content analysis. And then I don't know, in 2019, I don't know what happened, and the Ian Millenhouse published another abstract saying people are using this too much, it is not good anymore. One critique that he has is actually because it takes so much efforts, it is all human labeling process. So humans make mistakes all the time, right? Sometimes you need 2 or 3 coders to take this documentation, and errors are normal, kind of common in this field. So here is what I'm where I get this inspiration from, how can we put AI in cartography? This is a figure that I found in ICC, International Cartography Conference, during one presentation. Guess what year was this figure made from? Any good guess? This year? 1941. So this comic called The Topographic Magic Box from one of really brilliant a Swiss cartographer, the Professor Imhoff in Switzerland, to illustrate how can we automate the digital terrain on the maps, and those applies to 20 years before when digital cartography comes into field and applies today. People are still finding these parallels between what we had 70 years ago and today for the AI, right? So we have many articles about how to use AI in map readings, map makings. I pointed out my advisor, Anthony Robinson, doing many interesting presentations on how can AI help us generate the accessibility descriptions for images and maps. And also we have this agents for creating some artificial, for creating some cartography stylings from Yuhao Kang and Chenlong Wang. So I'm excited. I was super excited. whether AI can help us ensure the consistency, whether AI can help us make it more accurate, and also whether there's one magic button we can push and then just have a cup of tea for 5 minutes and then 1,000 maps done, right? But also, I don't want to put it into the discussion session, but like this is something we should aware of even before doing the analysis. Like what kind of energy does it cost? Like by the end of 2025, even just for OpenAI company, the total the energy budget is similar to the whole country of Iceland, and they are projecting like an even larger increase of by 2033 is kind of like similar to what the energy consumption in India right now. And also for the water, how much cooling water does it cost for running the demands, running the questions. And so, and there are some debates, there's a claim made by some Altman that compared to the hamburger or leaking pipes, that AI doesn't really take that much of water. So there are some back and forth arguments about how much water does it take. So I'm trying to track all the costs during my experiment, how much money do I spend? I have a budget of $5. And how much electricity, how much water does it cost? And these are QR codes where the calculation are coming from. So the case is my master thesis. So in that thesis, I'm doing a content analysis of 200 maps from China, from Russia, from Japan, or from the English countries on a specific area, Sakhalin Island, on the north of Japan, east of Russia, where it is a disputed territory. So different countries have different territorial representations of that specific areas. They put the borders, put everything differently. So how can AI replicate the whole process for me? So this is the kind of a workflow, in the Jupyter notebooks. I'm not a coder, so it's actually ChatGPT developing the code for us. So yeah, it is automatic. I'm sorry, my undergrad education, the intro to geocomputing class that I took did nothing helping me doing this. But two key parts. The one is the schema part, which defines the format of the input and the output, what kind of fields, what are the codes, in format binary or a string or something. This is one important field. And another one is instructions, which are prompts, what are some user manuals or I don't know, just telling AI just to following these rules before and during they do this analysis. And there are some problems on the first round, second round. I forgot to pay my quota, so I paid it. I paid it. So on my third round, I was being cautious. Just run the first 5, and then from the 6 one to the 100, and then all 200 image, and it looks plausible. And I run them 3 times. So because by using API, every new image is a new query, they refresh. So there's no I don't think there's learning effects. So I run them 3 times. And also, my master thesis is over there. So this is human annotation. People don't like researchers saying we compare machines to machines, but maybe machines to humans more worthwhile. So evaluation, how can we do this? I will try to illustrate by using examples such as there is a box with different fruits, maybe some other stuffs, maybe apples, but I know them quite well. Can I just grab one fruit to AI and AI say it is an apple, and I grab another fruit, doing this process. And there are 4 concepts. Accuracy. Out of all fruits in the basket, how many did AI label correctly? If there are 10 fruits and I got 9 right, accuracy is 9 out of 10. Precision. When AI points and say this is an apple, how often is AI correct? If I call 5 fruits apples, but only 3 are really apples, precision is 3 out of 5. Recall, out of all the real apples in the basket, how many did AI find? If there are 6 apples in the basket and AI spotted 3, the recall is 3/6, 3 out of 6. And F1 is kind of like a balance between precision and recall. So yes. So like translating to cartography folks, like we can just replace the apples with like any compositional trees on the maps, like borders in this case. So generally, the accuracy is quite high. The overall result is similar to what I did. It reached the similar conclusions, but like the precision is significantly lower. So maps without borders are labeled with borders. Maps with borders are labeled without borders. Recall, similarly, is quite low, so AI cannot catch maps with correct borders and trees. So yeah, out of all maps with borders, the model only catches a few, so a lot of false negatives. I won't explain the false negative, what it means. So the overall, the F1 is like a balance between precision and recall, so it is also really low. So to illustrate it, like in general, it's like just like those text-to-image model, like generating a map for you. It looks like kind of correct. Yeah, this is California. And if you look closely, oh wait, where's the San Francisco Bay? Like there's nothing like that. So it is like varying across the different codes that I did. Like maybe it catch more on certain borders at certain locations, but like not on the borders in other locations. Okay, so for quantitative content analysis, AI is not quite ready for it, but it still depends on the context and your instructions and prompts. I don't know whether like if you have a better prompt, it will like make better results. And also the base model plays a huge part of it. I use the ChatGPT, like the GPT-4o, maybe 5 is better, but also the energy consumption is significantly higher. And these images are not georeferenced. So that's those conversations related to how like AI folks think like we need a foundational model in geography, right? Like doing the georeferenced model, like really like having these spatial thinkings. And how can we use AI wisely? That's like particularly related to like how can we position ourselves into the research, right? So like depending on your context, maybe like by giving a part of your analysis to AI can erase a part of like the power dynamic or contextual information that are really related to this issue. So it's really, are you trying to just to let AI automate a part of your analysis? So this article written by Yuelin and Bo Zhao, like having an interesting perspective regarding AI as your collaborator. But this is like derived from the post-humanist thinking, like we have to decenter ourselves as the sole cartographer for our maps, but like embracing other actors, including the AI, the model, and also the instructions as our collaborators on making the map. But frankly speaking, inside of this room, do you really want to give up a part of your mapping process and regard your AI friend as your collaborators, right? So this is a question to make. And finally, a recap of the costs. The money, $3.60. Water is like 3 seconds of shower. Electricity is 7 minutes for the AC. But it depends on the context as well. Like in a lot of countries, like in Egypt, China, Malaysia, like it can have a decent KFC meal. Oh, imagine I'm talking KFC at Kentucky, right? This is like one of my life wish lists. Like I can just scratch it off. And the water is also like really crucial if in certain contexts. The electricity, it can light bulbs for like several hours long, especially for other reasons. So it all depends on the context. Like if people are doing the content analysis for 1,000 maps, 5,000 maps, that energy cost, that water cost is more significant than ever. So that's it. Thank you so much for your listening.
Wonderful, thank you, Joshua. We've got some time for questions for Joshua. I'll be walking around.
Hey, thanks. Can you talk about how did you test it? You had some examples of did it detect the 50th parallel? Did it detect toponyms? What exactly were you checking for to test the accuracy?
Yes, so I didn't really expand that part because that is quite related to my master's thesis. So I'm mainly looking at the three type of things: the border placements, the colors, the regime color of representations, and the place names. All these three things are all indicators of whether this island belongs to a certain country like Japan or another country like Russia. So I do have the values that I put in as a human content analysis annotator, but just I want to do this, replicate this process and let AI to recognize whether the locations of those features, whether there are features at these locations or whether the colors align with a certain regimes or the place names is actually a place name originated from a certain country. So.
Hi, Zhaoxu. Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation. I have a question. So why we need the content analysis? We use maps because we don't want to text. We don't want text, right? If we extract those content, we translate the maps into a lot of text, a lot of paragraphs. Then it seems that that's something as cartographers we want to avoid, right? So my question is, why do we need the content analysis of maps?
Yeah, so thank you, Yuhao. That is actually one important critique of Ian Millionhouse made in the 2019 abstract. Like maps are actually a combination of all the trees. Like if you take them differently, and there's a risk of them that it doesn't make sense or it doesn't match how the map actually want to represent. So there is a really specific use case to these maps. For example, if a cartographer wants to analyze what kind of map projections do cartographers use over the decades, right? So maybe previously people use more of the Mercator projection, and then they switch to maybe Robinson and Natural Earth, right? Those kind of stuff, so you cannot reach the conclusion before analyze a large number of different maps over different time periods. And that's also true for many other cases, what kind of color combinations do people really use? That they coherent with our psychological understandings, how the typeface, they are many things that cartographers really interested about. So we are really curious.
I have two things. First, content analysis doesn't necessarily turn things into paragraphs. It turns things into a quantitative database. Second, I'm wondering whether you wanted to think about using signal detection theory for analyzing the differences between your responses and what the AI gave you. So kind of seeing in certain instances, does it give you different answers, like a false positive or a false negative? So that's what I'm trying to get at, I guess, is if there is a border, is it more likely to say that there isn't a border, or vice versa? If there is a border, does it sometimes mess up and say that there is? I hope I said that correctly. But anyways, I texted you a link, but anyways, that might be a way forward. You don't actually have to respond to that if you don't want to.
Oh, you don't want to respond? Wonderful. Well, in that case, we have time for one more question. No? In that case, thank you all. Please join me in thanking Zhaoxu.